Good morning, everybody, and warm welcome to our webinar this morning on how to align data, people, and goals to drive business outcomes, mainly focusing on the performance analytics offering of ServiceNow. I'm joined today by James Walters from ServiceNow, and let's first off introduce the speakers.
Thank you.
So, my name is Hannes Hirvikallio. I run the sales practice in our Fujitsu ServiceNow practice across the EMEA region. And my history with ServiceNow and performance analytics in particular, I've been around helping customers to increase their maturity in ITSM parts. So I have a 10-year-old experience in selling ServiceNow, kind of being in a glad situation to see our customers advance from a very early adoption to what they're currently using in ServiceNow. And over to James, please.
Of course, thank you. Thanks, Hannes, and good morning, everyone. My name's James Walters. So I'm a solution consultant across EMEA for ServiceNow. I do work in the alliances and channels division, so that's supporting all of our partners. I've been working with ServiceNow for some time now, so 5+ years, so not as long as Hannes, but still got some good experience as a customer, then as a partner, and now working with ServiceNow. So I've seen it used across the board. I started out in the IT service management space, moving more into the operations, and then now the platform's been evolving, looking at the machine learning and the AI section, and predominantly in pre-sales, of course. So yes, as current project stays there, I am aligned to Fujitsu, so I've been working closely with Hannes and the team, making sure we've developed Fujitsu and how we work better together. I won't go into any more details than that, but that's me, and you'll be hearing from me shortly on how we learn more about performance analytics. I'll pass back to Hannes as he wanted to do a short overview around ServiceNow and Fujitsu.
Thank you, James. So before we delve into the actual subject matter of today, performance analytics, a few small reminder on what Fujitsu is in ServiceNow space. So we are one of the largest EMEA partners of ServiceNow, and actually the best performing partner to ServiceNow. So we've done this for the past 8 or 9 years. I think our first customers were joining from Finland approximately 9 years ago. And we're very proud of our customer satisfaction scores when it comes to our support and our consultancy departments. Currently, I think we represent the largest partner as being in the Nordics, so our market presence is pretty big. And we are very well recognized within our customers and within our analysts on what we do in the ServiceNow space. And next, a few words about our offering before diving into the actual topic. So we see ourselves as a true lifecycle partner to ServiceNow. So we can help customers all the way from when they are thinking of implementing a service desk or implementing ServiceNow with our business consultancy division. So we can help our customers devise the strategy when it comes to ITSM implementation, talk around the business change or business process optimization when it comes to using ServiceNow, predominantly, of course, in IT. We are a certified reseller and implementation partner to ServiceNow, currently on the gold level. And we have very many implementations on our belt, plus a big number of consultants that are accredited and certified by ServiceNow. We have a design and development team, which basically looks after the issues of if ServiceNow is not enough for us. So how do we develop custom applications or develop, for example, mobile applications on top of ServiceNow to better suit our needs? We use ServiceNow internally in Fujitsu as an internal ticketing tool or work tool. We call it Fujitsu Trioli. But we also have some add-on solutions called Symphony We, for example, for professional services automation. Our presence is heavily based in EMEA, with a let's say a big chunk of it being in the Nordics. But we also have global delivery centers when it comes to delivering from nearshore or offshore entities. So our delivery centers are currently in Kazan, Poland, Portugal, and in India. So we can deliver a mix of consultants using our low-cost options in development. We're also an authorized training partner, so whatever course you see in the ServiceNow webpage, we can actually come in and deliver. We are flexible in that we can send over or ship over our trainer so that we can tailor a training offering to suit your needs better. And last but not least, we are an authorized support partner, so we work very closely with ServiceNow when delivering support to our customers. And our support actually spans over the integrations, all the custom development that we do. So it's not just the pure platform support of ServiceNow, but it covers a whole range of other topics as well. So that was a brief look into what we do in ServiceNow and what our size and relevance is in the EMEA market. So I'll now hand over back to James to cover the topic of today. So thank you, James.
Thanks, Hannes. Yeah, appreciate that. Really good intro. And as we stand behind our partners, you know, Fujitsu for us is a gold. So really a top tier partner for us. So yeah, very good. Thanks, Hannes. So what I'd like to start the presentation on, and if we can, just a few house rules. I'll try and save questions to the end, if that's okay, just to try and not interrupt the flow. I think there is a chat option, so if you wanted to post something in there, lines have been muted. So if you do have any questions, pop them on there, and we'll either try and answer them at the end, or I can take them away if we run out of time. So I want to talk to you about data and, you know, the value behind the data that we have. You know, there's so much of it, and at different levels of the business as well. You know, it helps you manage your day-to-day activities. But what if you could harness that data and, you know, look forward rather than backwards? So that's what this quote is telling us around, you know, to track against goals and better manage objectives. You know, using it to highlight how you're doing well, you know, how your organization is performing and how you're continually improving. You know, that continual improvement is something I'm going to talk a lot about today. But using it, you know, rather than to back up, you know, why things have gone, you know, because of this reason, but, you know, really trying to bring that forward. So in today's world, it's more service orientated rather than how it used to be, you know, infrastructure and that side of things. You know, people are now in a modern enterprise looking for a service orientated organization. And that's really having a great partnership between, you know, the people and the data, you know, that drive that transformation, that making things better. And when it comes to, you know, increase customer satisfaction and of course increase performance and try and reduce costs all at the same time, you know, in order to adapt and to do that better in, you know, a competitive environment, we need a way of working that allows us to change and to drive, you know, forward. If you can establish a performance-based culture, you know, and have real-time access to data, trusted as well, which is really key, being able to measure it and communicate properly between peers and organizations, you know, not waiting for a spreadsheet to arrive a week later that's already a week or maybe 2 out of date when the person that got it originally started, you know, making their changes. And then being able to communicate that back up to, you know, all levels of the business. So having one place to go to advise people what's happening, you know, against that traditional reporting, doesn't really support that modern way and the speed and agility that people need. You know, things change. That we need a way of being able to support that. And hopefully you're using ServiceNow already today, and you'll have seen how ServiceNow can help you with that. You know, being able to present things very easily. You know, it's all there in one place. And performance analytics focuses on making service management, not just in IT, but service management, a lot more manageable. And it does provide that real-time insight into performance and helping identify, you know, what ones are required, where can we improve. We can start identifying trends, and we can really, what's key, we can start influencing those, so we can make actionable decisions in real time, opposed to waiting for a report that is already out of date, and it may already have been fixed, so it might not even be a problem. So there is a new way to work, and that way of work makes it easy for people to use. It's extensible, so if you're starting using more areas of the platform and everywhere, so it's available on mobile. I've got a short little demonstration later that I'll show you the full client, but with our mobile experiences, you know, everything is available on a mobile. ServiceNow have an app. And in our Madrid release, which is coming next year, we're going to be completely changing the way that the application works with an acquisition of Sky Giraffe. I won't go into more details about that, but I can send you some afterwards if you're interested. So PA really does underline your investment. So if you're starting to use IT, Servant or IAM or wherever you're looking at, we can optimize those activities and the processes you have, to make sure that you're aligned to the strategy, the value that you saw when you went to buy ServiceNow. If you're looking to buy it, this can really help you, drive forward with it. So I'm going to give you a few different contexts around how PA can help support you and what it means. But in this slide here, we'll see that every role has different responsibilities. So we've got service owners and executive, end users, and of course, frontline workers or people that fulfillers, if you like. So they have different questions that will help meet their objectives. So everybody set objectives, whether they come from an executive or whoever you report into, they all roll into that one business strategy. So an executive will look for information around corporate governance. Different types of service process owners will tend to look at trends information related to quality and cost, so they can report back up to the execs. Frontline and fulfillers, they need to see relevant information that will help them make their right decisions around their current activities. Are we prioritizing things correctly? Are we hitting our SLAs? Are the SLAs important to the service owners and the execs? And then end users need an insight into the activity around their requests. So what is it that's happening? Am I going to get my request done in time? So leading indicators, I've got some details on a bit more around leading indicators for better business alignment. So these are going to be targeted information to make smarter decisions, to allow for a better service, and that real-time overview and allow for that governance. And that's really, in a representation of the data, but it's coming from the same place, which is key. So they want to know the service of their quality of their requests, how long it's going to take. We look at the service owner. How can they then start impacting trends, make sure the service that they're providing is of quality and, of course, cost effective. Then if we move into the frontline work, how can I make my life more efficient? How can I achieve my goals at the same time? And then we start looking at the executive as well. How are we tracked against operational objectives? How are we making sure that we're the people on the ground are doing the things that meet our business objectives? So that's one context that I'm going to go through around the people and how different people in the organization need different forms of information and data. But the key is it's all shared on the same platform. Another context for me, and I think this one really does highlight the power in which performance analytics can give you in a continual service improvement method. And yes, it's a blank slide, but typically, and hopefully this comes out, with standard reporting, and we get this question quite a lot, what's the difference between standard reporting and PA? That's a very good question, and I think this slide really does sum it up. So traditional business reporting, not just ServiceNow reporting, but BI type reporting as well. It's a snapshot in time. So where are we today? So if we plot us on a course of here we are, that's what standard reports give you. What's happening right now. Can I look at a report? Yes, you can. You might have a dashboard, brilliant, but what it gives you is what is happening live on the ground today. So if we start having a look at how performance analytics can help you, what that gives you is a look where we were before. So if we look at 7 months back, are we improving? So if we look at a mean time to resolution as an example, is it getting any better? Are we improving? And that's where PA can help you look back at your data. It's all yours. It's nobody else's. It's making sure that we're driving to succeed, making sure that we are getting better. And what you can also do with PA. So that's our actual. You can then start setting a target to say, yeah, 6.5, almost 7 isn't bad, but actually we'd like to be at 8. And there's something that we have in the platform now called benchmarks that you can start looking at your peers, anonymized data, of course, but you can look at peers in your industry, in your sector, what they're doing, and does yours relate to the same? So potentially you need to start improving. So with PA, you can draw that line in the sand to say, where do you want to get to? And that's really important to say, this is where we will be and when will we get there. And PA can start forecasting based on what you have been doing, your data, your analysts, all the people that have been working. This is what you have been doing. This is how long we expect it's going to take you to close that gap. And I'll show you in a demo, how that looks in the system. And then key to that bit right at the end is, how do we get there quicker? Can we do something? Can we make some changes now to improve that gap and get us there much faster than 4 months' time? That based on our current activities, that's how long it's going to take. And 4 months might be good, but at least it gives you that goal that you can then start aligning to your manager. You can say, look, based on how we've been improving in the last 7 months, the next 4 we'll have hit that goal that you give me. So if I have a 6-monthly review, I'm going to be early. Maybe you want to keep that in your back pocket, that you're going to get there earlier, but it's still, at least you can with confidence say, yes, this is going to happen because I've got real data to support what's happening right now, what we have been doing, and if we continue on this path, we are going to get there. So I think that one is most important for me. But I think there's another context that I want to share with you around why PA and how that can help you. So I think that for me is influence, and we spoke a little bit about that just in the context of time. How can we get there? How can we influence it to get better? And maybe we are on the right path, brilliant, but we should always be trying to improve. The modern organization is always trying to strive to do things better, faster, cheaper. That's what the pressures that are coming down from us. In ServiceNow, we feel it as well. We want the platform to do this. Wouldn't it be great if it did these things? Brilliant. Yep. How can we be faster at delivering those really good changes? So we influence. We have, we're listening to our customers. We're listening to partners to influence how we change the product, how we affect, and how we roll out. It's something that we believe is really key, and I know Fujitsu are the same. They want to listen to their customers. What is it that they're telling them? So if I have a little example of how that could help us with our objectives. If we look at, say, we're planning a trip and we want to go somewhere, we set, it might sound a little businessy, but we do set some goals. When do you want to get there? How much can you afford to spend? And then we start layering on different options that are going to help us with that to make that decision. So where do we want to go? Well, we'll start looking at weather reports. We might look at, if it's one end of an island potentially that we picked, traffic data, or if we're in a busy city, do we want to stay closer? Do we want to stay further away? So that starts influencing the distance and the time it's going to take us to get there. Do we have young children in the equation? So maybe we want to look at where we're going to go. How safe is it? We all start having a look at all these different requirements that start influencing what we're going to do. And that influence, I think we can bring it back into the world of business to make sure that we have the right people on the ground. We can see how they're working. Is there things that we need to do to help them, to support them, to make the service better? And all that influence can really start with a tool like PA, start driving forward into our business goals and making sure that we have that alignment. And if we just have, this mass amount of data, what is it that we're doing with it? A little quote there, if you have all this data without any context, it's just organized information. You're not really using it and harnessing it as well as you should be. So PA, of course, makes service management much more manageable, and it creates that visibility on the performance of your processes. And it identifies, workload changes, bottlenecks, maybe staffing issues, and we can really start to be able to take direction into the process to make sure that it's working as well as it should do, and we can optimize it and potentially streamline it if we need to. If you had one implementation originally back in the day, you may be thinking, yeah, we did improve, but how can we track against that? Are we still aligning to that business goal? How can we get even better? Well, yes, I would challenge you that you can. And being able to use a product like this, you'll be able to track and trend to see if you are improving. So the built-in solutions around, the workload, staffing, service delivery, or all that incitement into, making sure you're giving your stakeholders the right information, you're providing real-time analytics, rather than taking in spreadsheets into a meeting that, when I was a customer, I used to do as well. Here's a report that outlines how my service desk has been performing, and we're excellent. And then my CIO would just go, yeah, but we've just had a P1. What's going on with that one? I might need to step out and get a new report. Well, with PA, I wouldn't. I'd be able to show up my dashboard. I'd hopefully even know about it before going into that meeting. Gives you that insight, being able to give my stakeholder the real-time visibility and dashboard to show him that, or her, that we are improving. So there's been some studies that around where people are going to be reporting from, and I've been using BI tools before. You might be using traditional reporting, other things, but there's a report that was done by Nucleus that suggested that 90% of analytic solutions for people are going to be embedded in their core application. So that means that we're not going to be transmitting data, the vast amount of data that we're going to be collecting. It needs to be in that core system. It needs to be right exactly where it's happening, what things are going on today, and making sure that we have that real-time information. So anybody want to take a guess? I know you're on mute, so potentially you can just shout it out loud. If you don't know, this is the ServiceNow Portfolio. This is the platform that supports our non-stop cloud and all of our experiences, intelligence there, and we can have a separate webinar to talk a little bit more about that if you like. But here are all the other aspects that build up that platform. So these are all what support our cloud services. So we've got IT service management, operations as well. Business management is quite a big one. And then right there, smack in the middle, is our PA. So why do we put it there? It's so the platform can benefit from it. It's not a bolt-on. It's not another feature that we need to activate. It is there, right there in the middle. So if you take IT service management, or you start looking at GRC or any of the other options like intelligent apps, to which there is a number available on our app store. Fujitsu have a great one on there, Symphony Week. That is automatically able to use PA because it's a platform feature. So if you're utilizing it for one space, then it's the same. So you get that same user experience across all applications. You're not then having to build up a new universe or having to go out and create new reports because you've made a change. PA is just there automatically for you. And if you have a new table, just point it at it and away you go. So I think being able to have it in real time, it's native to the platform. Of course, it's secure because it's part of the ServiceNow platform. If you're not aware of that today already, I can show you a little bit more around the ISO accreditations and how we can, reduce cost by taking out those legacy systems and moving it onto the ServiceNow platform. But I think what's key there is the duplication. So if people are worried about where data is going, or we're having to manage that process, of course, it's protected at all times by the same access controls that you implement on the platform. Typically, if you're moving it elsewhere, you then have to try and implement those same rules in other systems. And then you have to have trusted people to be able to view and manage that data. You can create reports in performance analytics, and they still follow the exact same rules and ACLs that you have already built into ServiceNow. So it takes another worry away from you and reduces that risk. Native, well, that's a word that we use quite a lot at ServiceNow. So as I mentioned, if you want to activate performance analytics, it's very easy to do so. And in fact, if you are an ITSM customer today, you can activate performance analytics on your incident management process for free. we'll give you a taster. We want you to see how it's going to help you. It won't be the fully fledged performance analytics. It only goes back a certain amount of time, and there are a number of out-the-box KPIs that you can start leveraging. And then when you start, excuse me, looking at the full PA, you get hundreds of KPIs that come out of the box, and you can go back as far as you like in terms of data. My question would be around, excuse me, how far back you'd like to go, the relevance behind that data. But of course, if you want to see it and you want to trend over time how we've been doing, then that is of course possible. So it's very easy to switch on. It's very easy to learn as well. Reports is quite simple. We would advise you to look at the native KPIs that come out of the box first, see if they align to your business goals. And of course, you can invoke a partner, Fujitsu. They have skilled resources that can able to talk you through how this all works and how to better optimize from your investment. And real time, I think that for me, when I was a customer, was so key. Having real time information that I could show on my laptop, show on a tablet, whichever I needed to support the conversation or highlight the fact that we're doing well. If I'm getting pressure in a meeting or something else, we can look. I've got real data here that I can show you we are improving and it is getting better. And this is what I'm doing to change it. And this is when we're going to get even better. And having that, in one place, it just, you can't argue with the data in front of you. It's there ready to go. And having those dashboards that if you're getting requests from people to say, wouldn't it be great if I could see this? Yeah, bear with me. I'll create you a dashboard and here's your own widget so you can stop logging a call and asking me these questions. It's there ready to go for you. And of course, there are different personas that we like to use that allow us to showcase that. And I think with that, showcasing personas, I'm going to jump out and hopefully give you a quick demo. There we go. So let me check that we can see my screen. Nora, I don't suppose if you're on or off mute, if you can, excuse me, see my instance.
Yes, we can see it. It's loading now, James.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I've mentioned around performance analytics and what it can do. And we do have a number of out-the-box dashboards. And what you see in front of you here is one of those. So this is the IT executive dashboard. And you can see around here we have some KPIs that are important to the executive. So the availability of service, the costs, and then of course customer satisfaction. So these are all things that the IT executive is very keen to understand to make sure they're going in the right direction. These are just rolled up amounts that you can obviously dive into these if you wanted to and click into. But the service availability one is great, and you can see on here there's this orange line in the middle. So this is the trend line. This is the one that's telling us, are we getting better? Yes, we always have dips. We can click into those and see the availability at 99.85, still very good, very high. But then we also go up as high as 99.93. And this just gives us a roll-up average around where we are. You can see the trend line there. Likewise with cost of service, it is going up. So potentially that's something we want to do. But we can start layering on different aspects around the the reports. It's not just one report flat, it's a multitude. Here, very interesting, mean time to resolution is going down and the first call resolution is going up. So these are things that we want to start trending, but understanding why the mean time to resolution average is going down. It's great. Well, that's because our first call resolution is going up. Being able to layer those two on top of one another to then start understanding, we are improving, things are getting better. And then if we look a little bit further down, we can start seeing the breakdown of those. We can start seeing the trends as well. And there are different ways that this resolution and availability, of course, is starting to track and trend. So those sort of executive reports are really key, that they can understand, what's happening. Can we start influencing things Do we need to start improving our first call resolution time? It's on its way up. You know, what happened at this point here to make all of a sudden change in a completely different direction? Did we do something? Can we start investigating? You know, to make sure that that goes up? Did we all of a sudden employ a load of new first liners that they had, you know, using our expert knowledge base that we implemented? They've been able to utilize that, and then lo and behold, our resolution rate is going up at first. So it does give us great visibility to allow that, and you know, it allows us to expose this data in a way that's you can click through it, you can start seeing that they are aligning into our business goals and directions. Then you know, if we can start having a look at the health, you know, how are things going? It has the experience looking, you know, all of these functions that I'm showing you here are all native and out of the box. You know, there's nothing here that you know, it's all configuration rather than customization. So we can look at the different experiences, how they're built up. You know, we can drill down into those as well and see how the indicators look. What is it that we're trending against? So on this one, the customer, this was the forecast line that I was showing you previously. So a number of different ways that we can achieve that. This is the line that we want to set our target to. So the target's been set at 100. You know, we can see that, you know, we're not getting there at the moment. What do we need to do? Based on our current activities, we're probably not going to get there, although we are getting slowly better. We can then, of course, start averaging out over 6 and 3 months. The target that we saw before, so we can set a global, so we can allow, I'm the executive, so I'm going to set the global target. This is what I want us to strive to. As a personal, you know, if I'm the IT manager, I might want to set one higher just so I know I keep going to see that point. And of course, we can then see in different thresholds. You know, if we hit that point, then let me know, because I'm going to be straight into the CIO and tell him that goal that you set us, we've hit it. It might be a notification. He or her might already have that set up, but it's something that I want to be notified as well. You know, if we get an all-time high, low, or if we want to, you know, make sure we are getting to that point. So that's something that we can do really easily, you know, just by using a few clicks of the button. We can then start adding comments as well. You know, what happened at this point? Why was it so low? Or there was a major outage. You know, AGE, there we go. I can actually, you can add those in, and then you can obviously view those at a later date if you can understand, you know, what happened. And of course, you can change those and amend the targets. So having this view around the data, and I said, you know, we click on year to date, you can then start going back as far as you like, or as much data as, of course, is there as possible. We can then drill into the scores, how that chart is built up. So we give you the calculation so you can understand a little bit more. And these are, of course, the resolution times over an average. And then we start doing some more calculations. We can then see the real data, you know, per day. How is that built up? Any comments that we hit the P1, there's a major outage, and any more information that we want to glean from that. So that was an executive. They have the ability to start setting those targets to see, are we, you know, striving around our customer experience? That's something I want to understand. You know, what's our risk score? How are they built up from? We can then start drilling down into a different persona. So let's have a look at somebody that would be, you know, using the tool probably more frequently. The executive, you know, they want just a snapshot, you know, maybe once a day or something like that. So if we have another look at the incident, this for me is a process owner. So this could be a service desk owner. This could be somebody that's you know, looking, managing a group of people. Of course, we can then start doing that down in business service or grouping in different ways. But giving you that overview around, you know, the number of open incidents that you have, obviously that's real-time data. We can then start drilling into those. But that's something we get from standard reporting. What we don't get from standard reporting, so we know how many they're open, but how many are open that haven't been updated? So being able to view that quite easily, we'll then start getting a backlog. So is that something we need to do? Is that something we need to action? And then we get a forecast line as well. If we don't do anything, this is what's going to be happening. So yeah, okay, maybe we've just opened 9 a.m. or 9:30, so people are starting to work, so people are starting to update those incidents. That's fine, but that all influences the decision that I might make. We might have these scorecards on a big screen in the service desk or in the the HR department. Obviously, you can use it there as well. It's not just for IT. Anything that we're starting to see that a trend, it brings that to the front of people's attention, that you can see calls are increasing, or we're doing well. Let's start having a party around it, or something that's quite important to people around mean time to resolution. It's just an average, but that's a KPI that we're all monitored on. So making sure that we're doing things and ensuring that we're striving to the right goals. So without having to go down a little bit too much deeper, I think I've shown you how these charts can help you. We can start making decisions and of course trends that then start forecasting into the future. So I think for that angle, I've mentioned around how we can break down in assignment groups and the different ways that the charts are then built up. We have obviously operations, all sorts of other things that you want to start drilling down into. The ease of being able to create new and use these existing reports really does make your life a lot easier. The only other thing, I'll show you interactive filters. So this is just so we can see how many open incidents that we've got in tier 1, so we can then start drilling down by category. We can then start, well, I don't want to look at the P5s because they're not interesting to me. Equally, the 4s, not that bothered. 3s, okay, that's fine, but we can easily start drilling down. And if we have a look at the priority, we can select just the criticals, so just show me those. These are the ones that I want to see today. We have quite a few in the software space, so maybe there's something that's happening, and then we can start tiering them as well, and really start updating these. So in a real time, if somebody asks you a question, we can give that information straight away. We've done it by category, and of course we can then start stacking it by impact if we wanted to as well. So although a short demo, but hopefully give you a good overview around what's possible from ServiceNow, give you a good idea around how easy it is to click through these things. You don't need to be a data scientist to start creating them. It is relatively straightforward to do so as well. I would urge you to go to the out-of-the-box ones because there are a number of those, and of course Fujitsu can help you understand these a little bit more detail and how you can get the most out of them. So with that, I'm going to jump back into my presentation. One thing I don't have on my phone, unfortunately, doesn't transmit very well on WebEx, but performance analytics is available on mobile. So those indicators and reports that you saw on my screen, you still have the same ability and capabilities on the mobile. I did say earlier on it's going to change quite a lot in Madrid, but that's more going to be around the experience and making sure it's much more streamlined for you. But it is there ready to go today. So making sure that if you're on the move, you can see how your KPIs are performing. If you're traveling into the office or out, you don't have to worry that when you're leaving, things are going to start going wrong, because you can still influence and you can still back it up from a report. So we've seen a little bit from leading and lagging indicators. This is something I mentioned earlier on in the presentation. So what is the difference between the two? Good question. So a lagging indicator is more output orientated. So this is something that's much more easier to measure. So this is typically how you would be using traditional reporting. It makes it harder to influence. So let's pick on an example that, P3s, if we want to achieve a better resolution rate in a higher quality, a lagging indicator would something be you present afterwards. So that's why it's easier to measure, because you can see what's happened. It's already gone on, but that means it's harder to influence because it's happened in the past. So I'm going to set a target, but then all we're going to do is look at it afterwards. It's retrospective. If we then start moving into a leading indicator, so these are harder to measure, but that means it's easier to influence. So you can see quite easily, are we going in the right direction? Do we need to do anything about it now before we get to this date? And you have that perspective on how things are going. So let me give you another example. Something that I've been trying to do recently, weight loss. We all like to go on holiday during the summer. So how could a lagging indicator help? So have I lost weight? I did. Okay, so an operational reporting. So I might record this over time, so periodically, and this is going to give my progress. I'm going to jump on the scales and it's going to tell me, am I fatter or am I thinner? Have I lost any weight? But if I was to use a leading indicator, so if I started, using a Fitbit or something else, I can understand that the steps that I'm doing today are helping me get there. So I'm walking more. So I can see if I continue walking more, I'm going to lose more weight. So how about if I start walking twice a day rather than just once? Is that going to help me? Potentially, well. So we can start pinpointing actions that can start influencing things that I can do today. Right, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go for a walk now, because if I do, I'm going to lose weight quicker, and my holiday looming, so I want to make, I'm there ready to go. So we can then really start influencing my decisions. And ultimately, it does lead into the lagging indicator, so we know we can report back up. I know I have lost weight, but it does mean that I can then start making changes here and now rather than waiting for the day. Step on the scales. Oh, I could have done better. So let's bring it back into the world of business. And I mentioned around solving P3 incidents. So an objective that's been set from management could be SLAs. We want to solve 95% of those P3s within 48 hours. So a typical lagging indicator would measure the percentage of P3s that were solved in 48 hours. Nice and easy to do, however, much harder to influence because it's happened. So fingers crossed, I think we did well. I was on the staff to make sure we're hitting these numbers. It all looked very good at the time. I was after daily, reports and they were presenting them to me in a spreadsheet. It all looked very good. But if we'd have used a leading indicator, we can then start having a PA report that tells us the percentage of those incidents that haven't been worked on for 24 hours. So rather than waiting to 48 when I get my report, I can start looking at them 24 hours before then. And also start laying over another report over this to say how many P3 incidents are older than a day. So those are definitely ones that I need to start working on. Yes, it's harder to measure, but it is easier to influence. And that really is the key, the easy to influence. The harder to measure is fine because that's how performance analytics can help you. But without that, without that input, it's much harder to get to the output that you want because you don't have the influence, you don't have that data there ready to go, being able to make those actionable decisions. So how can performance analytics help you with that? Well, get you up and running very fast. As I mentioned before, if you have service management today, then you can switch performance analytics on. You can activate it. It may be a case of logging a high ticket, but we can speak about that a little later. But then you get a number of KPIs. You can then start, using them straight away. Or, of course, we can activate full performance analytics. I would recommend that everybody does that. I think the power in which it brings is brilliant, and we can talk about, potential systems that you have in place today. We can help you with a business case assessment, understanding, why it's going to help you, how we can start saving you money. And I've got some customer use cases around, don't just take my word for it. We have customers that are talking about this. So that speed is something that one of our customers was very keen to highlight, how fast it was. It's a case of activating. It's not an integration. It's not anything else that needs a ton of work. You can then start gaining real-time analytics straight away. That gives you the ability to make those actionable decisions that I was talking about. and then aligning with those strategic and operational objectives, which allows you to optimize performance and make sure that you're aligning to those goals that everybody you hear talking about. But how am I making a difference? How are these things working? And of course, being able to solve those P3s in those 48 hours, something we can deliver to you straight away. So if we look specifically around service management, this is where we can start prioritizing resource, so you can quickly detect service bottlenecks as they occur and identify areas for improvement. We can help you improve your resolution times. So we have those embedded analytics, which delivers increased efficiency in incident, problem management, and other areas as well. The automation and self-service, well, it's very easy to identify areas where automation and self-service can increase efficiency and, of course, reduce costs. We are driving towards continual service improvement, and that continual service improvement is really hard to do unless you're looking at your own data, what you have been doing in the past, to ensure that you are driving for that continual service to get better. So we can pinpoint areas for performance improvement, and we can take action, and it's the taking action that we allow. Using those key indicators, and we have mobile that you saw briefly as well, but different sorts of drill down reports and dashboards and time charts, all of that, making sure that we're using that same data. You can chop and change it and move it around however you works best for you, but you're not going to another universe, a different form of report. It's that one same source of truth. That data is the same data that I'm using, that somebody else is using, so it's all there ready to go. And something I've mentioned a few times, aligning to your business goals. Making sure we have that seamless experience for everybody. We're not using the spreadsheet, we're not using the VR, we're not using different types of reporting that all people get confused around. It's just the same place. So I mentioned one of our customers. So this one spoke at our Knowledge event. I don't know whether any of you have been able to get out there, but Knowledge is a big event we host every year for our customers, and our partners go as well. But this is where we give our customers the opportunity to talk to other customers and what they've been doing and how they've been utilizing the platform. This one is St. Luke's Hospital, and this really does, for me, give a great representation of how easy it was to roll out. They thought initially it was going to be a 7-week program, but then they managed to get that down to 4 weeks. It was really nice and simple for them, and that was across their 6 hospitals. They also thought their initial spend budget would be about $7 to $8 million to roll out a new system of this type for their different hospitals. So that meant that they were going to be exporting data. They were going to have to try and figure out how to provide it in real time. So being able to use performance analytics, it meant that they could do that. They didn't have to export it into other areas. They didn't have to provide the hardware. They didn't have to provide the staff that had to manage all of this. And they could provide real time, on time, and the compelling argument to make sure they're aligned to those business goals. They're being transparent, and they can show IT how they're being a benefit to the business, opposed to it's just another spend. And I have a link to the YouTube clip that the chap from St. Luke's spoke at our Knowledge event. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, I can share that with you afterwards. And it's only a short 2-minute video, but he does explain how he at St. Luke's helped roll this out and how it's helped their organisation. Another one for me was the car auction services. So they've been able to create these constant metrics, and that was critical for them, and been able to drive down their maintenance time, drive down the critical response time as well, and of course reduce the backlog. We have a case study that's in PDF form that, again, I'll share with you as a takeaway after this session. But it really does give you the understanding around what they did to transform their service into an agile business. And since going live with ServiceNow, ServiceNow Performance Car has According to them, and this is a quote from them, dramatically enhanced its service capabilities by creating a constant data foundation, and this is empowering its entire organization to proactively manage services instead of reacting to out-of-date information. I think that out-of-date information is something I've spoken about, certainly in the context of time, making sure that we're striving to those goals. When CAR implemented it, it did lead to a mass reduction and efficiencies. So it could be whether you're replacing BI warehouse, whether you manual labour to create repetitive reports, or just by simply replacing entire reporting teams. There are different ways that we can start helping you understand how your organisation can benefit from it. A report that I know the team at Fujitsu should be nicely familiar with is the total economic impact of service. This was a study that was commissioned by Forrester on behalf of ServiceNow. Again, I can share that with you. I think that's a good couple of key takeaways. It dives into more than just performance analytics. But a quote from it regarding PA itself, if you didn't believe that incident and change management was correlated, then we certainly can prove it. And the insights like this from PA that help us to make sure that we're focusing on the right priorities and SLAs. So that was a quote directly from somebody that you can see, the senior IT director, Greg, had advised that it was helping his organisation, making them, from a reactive state, they didn't have insights into trends and ad hoc reports and all that sort of thing, more into a proactive, so being able to drive forward, using the trends, using the real-time analytics and the built-in scorecards and KPIs that come with it. And then, in summary for me, we've seen how PA can be used in different contexts. We've hopefully seen how easy it is to use. It's there, ready to go. There are dashboards or KPIs for you to start using. I hope we've seen the power and the value it brings to customers, and of course, a short example and demonstration, how it works. Being able to prioritize team workloads and measuring those performance analytics KPIs. So with that, I think we still have 7 minutes to go. So if there are any questions, Nora and team, I'll happily take those, and I'll make sure we share the Forrester report, the customer example report, and of course there's a quick link for YouTube if you just want to watch that quickly. So
great, thank you, James. We have received a couple of questions, and I think we have time for them now. So if you're prepared, I'm gonna start with the first one here.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, the first question we got is, how do you measure the cost of service? We are looking exactly for this metric. We could like to add a cost per resource and then report on the time per case.
Okay, so let me dive into the cost of service was what they were looking for. So that was on the IT executive, wasn't it? The executive dashboard. Let me have a quick look at that. So for each of the indicators that appear, you'll then see how they're built up. So this is something that we can then start breaking down into different ways. So if we drill down into some of these, if we go in further down into it, it'll give you how it's broken down. So is it something that you're using today, I guess? And we can then start seeing how this is built up. And we then start taking an average, and there are different averages there that we can start having a look at. But the scores is really the sum by month, and then this is the formula as to how it's worked out. So I guess if it's something that you're really keen on understanding how it works, well, yes, we can have a follow-up conversation about that. If this formula doesn't give you, the total in what you're looking for, but that's how we build up that information. And of course, if it's something you're looking to do, then no problem. We can help you out with that. I hope that was enough. I'm happy to take that as a follow-on. If it's something one particular KPI that you're looking at, then yes, of course, we can help you out with that.
Yeah, the answer here from the customer is that they will drop you email. So that's great, James. You can continue the discussion. One more question. That's regarding use of PA when you have customized app. Can we utilize performance analytics in the apps that we have built?
Yes. Going back to the slide that we have here, I'll just build it out. So anywhere that you are using the ServiceNow, you are then able to start using PA. On here, it's called actionable analytics, but for me, it's performance analytics. So it's right in the middle there that you can then start leveraging. So if you're using it today for intelligent apps, which is where you would have built things, then yeah, it is available for you to start using.
Great, James. Thank you very much. I think that was the questions we had for now. Thank you for this great webinar, and for all of you who have listened, you will receive an email today with the links that James has promised you, and also a recorded version of this webinar. So if you want to see parts of it again, that will be possible.
Of course, and I'll share those links with you as well, Nora, just so you've got them, and then you can communicate out to the wider team.
Great, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank
Appreciate it. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.